Success Club or to sign up that extra coach that you wanted to. And so you're able to go back through your hot list, or if you have just a notebook sheet, whatever it is, having all that there with some stars and some notes and some things so that you have a system for yourself is so helpful, because those are the first people you're going to go to when you need to lock in that last little bit. So I do very, very similar to them, just more on my mobile while I'm on the go, and then transfer it at the end of the week into my hot list. So we all do it pretty similar.
And I was going to say that I do the same thing, but I use my Google Streak a lot, and I have that as an app on my phone. So I'll, quick go in there, but same thing, hot list, all that stuff kind of goes into my Rise Planner too. But I just have different pipelines for people I'm inviting repeatedly, people that have expressed interest. So very, very similar, all Instagram story, all likes, comments, people that are engaging with me. And then just from following list as well. So
I use Streak as well. I just didn't want to go into the nitty gritty of that.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to start that right now if they haven't started doing it, I guess. But
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Streak is just an email system that Maggie and I use. So basically when we take people off of Instagram, we pull them straight into emails, and we have them in, they're called pipelines, and they're different groups. So that's how I follow up. But I love it. So, and I do have a video if somebody is really interested in that, I can share it. It takes you through how to set one up. But the main point is to have a system. In this notebook system, if you don't have anything that works for you yet, very, very simple to start now and use for this month at least, and see how it works for you. Yes, Rachel, I'll share that video.
And I'll say I wish that I was that organized like Maggie and Ashley or technology savvy, because I tried so hard to use Google Streak or use Teamsy or any of those, but like technology is not, it's like, to me, the way my brain works, it's like an extra step. But if you're that like organized, like need it all in one place, like technology savvy, then try using that, because that's probably like more your language. I'm more like organized chaos and just like notebook, paper, whatever. Krista, do you do anything different than that?
Mm-mm.
Same thing.
No, same. I was going to say I'm very pen and paper, and then I'll transfer to the Rise Up journal. And then I just do my invites I'm always making sure I have like call to actions, like at least twice a week, engaging polls. So that kind of gives me something to pull from. But yeah, just really kind of getting it out there, what I'm doing. So like you said, I don't just email someone and just say like, hey, do you want to join? Like they know what I'm talking about. So Yep. Nope. I'm the same.
And you guys, that's a huge thing starting this. Like if you guys have not been sending a bunch of invites before, that's kind of where personal development can come into play too, because I know that's one of those, like for me, especially when I started out, I was like, meh, people will come to me if they want it. Like I'm not going to do that. But for real, like there's so many people who have joined me that are like, oh my gosh, I was just too scared to reach out, or I've been watching you for such and such amount of time, and I just like was too scared, or I just wasn't sure, whatever. And I have a ton of girls who I reached out to and said no to me like 50 million times. Like one of my leaders on my team is 3-star qualifying, and she said no to me like the first 25 times I asked her, but it's in the follow-up. So you guys don't be afraid to invite people. Again, the worst thing they're going to do is say no, and you just say, okay, no problem. And you're not cutting them out of your life. Like you can still go like their pictures. You can still message them on their stories. You can still have a relationship. But make sure that you're doing the invites, because that's really important. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Okay. Did anybody have any more questions about that? No. Okay. Diamond Roadmap. I'm sure for most of you guys that are in here, you probably would know what that is. Basically, your roadmap is just kind of like a quick layout of what this looks like for you, like your roadmap to Diamond. So obviously you guys know for Diamond you need 4 coaches on each leg, and then 2 of those have to be Emerald. If you don't already have a roadmap, we can send one. I know all my girls have done it before, but what I usually, and I think Ashley's the one that told me to do this, was the coaches that are already signed up under me, I would write their name in pen Or if you're a technology person, you could do it like on a graphic and like put their name in one specific color. And then anybody who like you're talking to or you're like in a conversation with that's got a star next to their name, or they're in your Rise Up planner or whatever, that said yes to more information, you can write their name in pencil or do it in a different color. Or if it's somebody that you're like, I'm dying to have this person on my team, like I'm going to get them on there, you can write it in pencil or put it in a different color, but it kind of lays it out there for you so you can see really how many more conversations you need to be having, how many more people you need. And I think it can help too with that confidence level and really show you guys like how close you actually are. Like Diamond is such a doable thing. It literally, you just have to fill in those blanks. Like that's it. But if you need a roadmap, we can send one in like our group message.
I just sent to Dylan.
Oh, perfect.
If you see it, you can pull it up. I don't know if you're like where you can pull it up from the chat thread or anything, but I pulled 2 of them. There's one that's just a newer one. And then there's one that has little goal dates in there, which I personally like to use that with my girls because I like you guys. It makes it so much easier when you think about, oh my gosh, 4 weeks, I have to sign 8 coaches up and 2, it's like, that seems so overwhelming. But when you take away that overwhelmingness of that many coaches, it's really not that much when you break it up into maybe this, next week, by next week, I want to have signed up 2 people. If you, like Dylan said at the very beginning of this, if you're inviting and you are sharing and you are doing all the things we're telling you to do every single day consistently and actually doing it, then it shouldn't be that hard to find some people to join you on this journey. And if it's about a challenge group, awesome. Still present the opportunity for them to become like a VIP customer or a discount coach. So, but having goal dates for yourself really helps for people who need kind of that goal-minded look into this bigger goal, so that you're not the person the week of on Monday and our goal date is Wednesday night at midnight and you're like, okay, I'm finally ready, I'm going to hustle. And you're like, there's so many people to sign up. So plan ahead and set some little goals for yourself along the way. It feels really satisfying to crush them too.
Definitely.
I don't think I can share my screen otherwise. Oh, maybe I can. You guys have all seen it though, haven't you? It's in the thread. I don't know how to share my screen. It's not working. Anyways, it's in the thread. You guys will see 2 of them.
My last quick thing on there was just questions. So do you guys have, this is the time to ask as we're like heading into this first week. Do you guys have any questions or anything you need like clarified or need to know more about? Dang it, I just smudged my nail polish.
Okay, we're sending this paper to our coach every night filled out like one of these blocks. I'm assuming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure. Okay.
In our little thread, you guys will put them in there so that it's easy for us to go through, and we literally have our own spreadsheet and we're just checking you all off, checking you off when you're on the call, checking you off when you post it in there. So all you have to do is show up and do it.
How do you follow up repeatedly after they say no in a way that doesn't sound pushy or annoying? Girl, I just say, hey, I know I messaged you last month, but I'm persistent. Are you ready to join in yet? Sometimes I'll send them like a little gift with the guy like doing this, and if that's not your style, don't do that. Like if you're not somebody that sends a bunch of gifts, don't send them one. But honestly, you guys, like the less pressure that you put on this and the more casual and like natural and fun you make it, the more chances that people are going to join you. Like I'm telling you, people feed off of that energy. So if you go into sending your invites and you're like, oh, nobody's probably going to want to do this, like it's probably not going to work, nobody's going to say yes, everyone's probably going to say no, then guess what? Everybody's going to say no. But if you reach out and you're like, whatever, the right people will join, I'll find my people, like have fun with it, then people are going to feel that. Like it's the craziest thing and it sounds really hokey, but it's so true. Like people feed off of that energy that's like coming through. Like they feel your excitement.
Also,
And I was going to say too, oh, sorry.
It's okay. I was just going to say.
Go.
I love you.
Go.
I'm going. Okay, I'm going. I'm going to say 2 things. First, leverage the sale that we have this month, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It may not seem like a sale to us because it's still the same price for the challenge pack, but they don't know that. So If you talk to them about Ultimate Portion Fix 2 months ago when it was $200, it's $170 now. If you do the All Access Challenge Pack with the container. So like, that's another great way to follow up. Maybe they give you a price objection. Now you have a sale. So it's not pushy. It's not awkward. Just tell them, hey, we have a sale now, da, da, da. Also, I wanted to say, use this group or our message thread to ask questions, but also encourage. There is, sorry, I'm going to excuse my language. There's no bitching and complaining in the message thread. There is encouragement, questions, and things like that. So don't go in there and give us these crazy excuses of why you didn't get your work done today. Just get it done and have fun.
We are solution focused. That's what I always say. I'm like, we are all about a solution, not about whining. You can, of course, talk about things, but we don't want to whine.
No whining. Okay, you talk now. Sorry.
I know. Well, I was going to go back to the pushy thing, but then I was honestly just going to agree with Dylan and give an example. Like it also stems with like being consistent and showing up every day, which we know is huge. So if you are showing up every day and you're making polls and you're making posts and people that have said no to you are still liking them, they're still engaging with them, it's not pushy because they're still engaging with you. And like Dylan said, if you make it fun and you're like today, I literally had a girl, our last conversation was a couple days ago. She voted on a poll. I asked because we all know that people skip through. And I'm like, hey girl, did you mean to vote on the poll? And she was like, oh no, I didn't. But then she voted again. And so I even said like, hey, I'm like, don't hate me. However, you did vote, like laugh out loud. And sure enough, she was like, no, I really did mean to vote today. So it's like, if you go in with that, like, hey, haha, but like you are still engaging with me. So if they're still engaging with you, you're not pushy, you're not salesy, you're not yucky. And just like they were saying, I always go back every month because I'm tracking, I'm being consistent, and I always go back and say like, hey girl, I know last time we talked, and this is a huge thing, use their objections when you're following up with them. So like, hey girl, I know last time we talked, you told me that you didn't have the money this month. I was thinking of you because now if you purchase a challenge pack, you also get a free 21-day fix as a bonus. Like you're getting all this stuff or just whatever. I know last time we talked, you were struggling with nutrition. You just had your baby. So if you're using their objection, I think that helps because they're like, oh, she was listening to me instead of just, hey, my challenge group is open again. Do you want to come this month? And they're going to be like, no, like use something for them. And then I don't think you're pushy, but that's just me.
I was going to say, and not even just in messages, like on your stories too. If you're somebody who gets a lot of objections, start talking about them in your stories. Start making it more like a general, like, oh my gosh, I've gotten this, comment a couple times this week. Doesn't have to be more than twice, but no one needs to know that. Talk about that, or do a question box and then ask yourself some questions that you really want to answer for people. So those are all good ways to kind of get around some of the things that are objection oriented, or if you're getting a lot of kickback on things like that. But just like Krista said too, and this is like, I did a call on this first, the storytelling thing. If you are being really consistent and sharing all this stuff, sharing about your pre-workout and sharing about your workouts. If people never see you working out, no wonder they don't want to join you. They have no idea that they can even trust that you're going to be there to show up because they've never actually seen you do it. So you have to show up and you have to be consistent and let them see you walking the walk and not just talking the talk, because that helps so much when you are consistent and doing that over and over again, and then pairing it with your invites, it goes a lot better.
And you guys, like Ashley was just saying, they want to see you doing it. If you're having the crappiest day ever, message in our thread or message on your team page or whatever and say like, hey guys, I've had a really crappy day. I don't want to do my workout. Does anyone want to get on a Zoom and do it with me? Or go on your story and tell people like, I really don't want to get my workout done. Like I had a really rough day, but I need to show up for all these people. I need to show up for myself and do it anyways. Don't go on there and say, I had a really rough day, so I'm going to use today as a rest day and maybe I'll do it tomorrow. No, go on there and hold yourself accountable too. Because people will feed off that. They want somebody who is going to push them to show up also. And it's different. Like if you're super duper sick or you're like vomiting all day, then please do not go do your workout. But like, that's an excuse to not do it. Yes. But if it's just like, I'm tired and I don't feel like doing it and today was awful, do it anyways. if not too many people like your stories, but a lot are viewing them, I invite people who are watching them, people who are following me, people who are liking my pictures. Like, those are all in your market. If you are actually sharing about these things every single day, they're not going to be surprised when you reach out to them. If they're following you and you're sharing these things every single day, it's not going to be like totally out of the blue, like, oh God, what is she inviting me to? No, because they're following you, or they're seeing your stories, or they're liking your picture. So invite those people.
Yeah, there's an unfollow button for a reason. So if they haven't unfollowed you yet and they are still engaging, even if it's like a really bitchy comment that they sent in your DM, I always go, why are you following me if you want to send me that message? Because it's a legit question. So even if they're still following you and they have not unfollowed you yet, then you have prime time to go ahead and ask them, invite them, talk to them, whatever. They're there. So can't worry about it too much.
How do you fill out a roadmap if you have no potential coaches? Then tomorrow, when you send out your invites, I want you to write down some names in pencil of people that like you're having conversations with or that you would want to join. And if you don't have any coaches, make sure that I don't know who this person is. Are you Emerald already, or no, not yet? Oh, I see you. Are you Emerald already?
No, not yet.
Okay, so that's one of the things that you need to do. In our thread, I can send that Emerald University call. So that'll be your first step, is getting that by Wednesday. Like, set that as your goal. And I'll send it to you in our thread that I did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that call. And we also have the training on the team website as well, if anyone needs that. But honestly, you guys, everybody, it's not about having, like, I don't have potential coaches. Everybody does. You just have to think about it. You have to go through, if you haven't sat down and gone through your Facebook friends list, if you have not sat down and thought of friends that you know who are into fitness, like Mandy said, your dream list. Okay, who are people who you think would say no 10 times over, but you know that they would make an awesome coach? Then write them down. They're dream list people. That's people that you would love to have on your team and you'd love to hang out with, you know, virtually like this and do your coaching work with. That's how you get started, because that right there is a limiting belief to start with. So you have to just go ahead and say, okay, I don't have any coaches yet, but this is what I want to do, and I'm going to go start here. So start on your Facebook friends list. Start with, like Dylan said, anyone you talk to tomorrow. Start with Mandy, family and immediate friends. Mandy was a hoss in the beginning at finding all of her coaches. She was like, I'm going to message every single family member I have, every single friend, a family. So that's what you have to do, is just kind of get out there and get over yourself, get over being fearful of that and feeling like you don't have anybody to talk to, because you do. If you have Facebook friends and you have followers, you have people to talk to. Lovingly, said lovingly. I don't mean it in a mean way.
No, if you have friends or family members, then you also.
Yeah, if you have family.
If you know people.
Mm-hmm. Or you have a job. Anything. Anything else, you guys?
No?
Yes, no. Everybody clear on expectations? What's expected of you? This tracker, every night when it's done to your thread, your coach may or may not remind you. I might remind you, I might not, just to see how much you remember. My girls, at least.
I'm just seeing this. What if you have coaches, but they're only discount coaches? A coach is a coach, is a coach, is a coach. Still counts. As long as they're active, they count. Mm-hmm. You should have a controlled business center signed up, though, like your mom, your husband, whoever, because that's one that you can get to Emerald. So you just need one more business builder on that other side. Where would you start if you have a coach halfway to Emerald and she kind of fell off the wagon? Bring in new people, and then also reach out to her and tell her what your goals are. like tell her you're in this group and you're pushing and you've got this goal date and you need her to get back to Emerald. I have a girl that follows me and likes all my posts on Instagram, but her bio says, I don't want to be a part of your, then say that. Reach out to her and just say, hey, I saw in your bio that it says not to reach out to you, but I know that you're following along. Do you have any interest in joining in? Something like that. Or what is it that you've said, Krista? Or are you just, weren't you the one that was just saying that? Or are you just like being supportive? Or
yeah, or honestly, I've had a couple like no coaching with like the red circle. I'm like, okay. But
that's one of my coaches right now.
Yeah, they still, exactly. They still engage. So I don't even bring it. I don't even address that. Like, I'm just like, hey girl, saw you voted on my poll, or hey girl, saw you liked my post. I don't even say like, I saw that big red circle in your profile of you not wanting to join Beachbody, but did you like, no, who cares? Like, she's liking your stuff. So like Ashley,
if you're sharing about it,
they would unfollow you if they didn't want. They know what you're doing because you're consistent. Remember, that's where it all starts. You're giving them. You're starting with consistency. They know that you're a Beachbody coach. So I'd still invite. Okay, we have 5 minutes. Just letting you guys know.
what?
We have 5
Oh, until it goes out.
Yeah. We can use mine next time too. I have a longer thing. Not that we need longer. We're trying to keep it short and sweet for y'all. So you're not on here all night. Any other questions? We're excited and we're being kind of strict with this just because we want you guys to be successful. We are putting in time and effort. We're all busy. We all have kids and we're moms and wives. And so we're putting in time and we want you guys to show up. We know what it takes to be successful. And I hope that you see that kind of like the underlying theme of all of us leaders that are trying to do this for you is that there's just been no excuses. You know, we all have days, we've all had kids while we've been in our coaching journey. There's been a lot of things that have gone on, but the biggest thing is that we chose to work through those and just push through and realize that our why was bigger than that current circumstance. And that's what you have to do to be successful. We're not saying you have to be superhuman or, you know, never have a bad day. Of course, this is like an amazing platform to use to inspire people through that bad day or through whatever circumstance it is. But if you guys want this and you want to be successful, then we're telling you what you have to do, and you just have to actually do it. Not just say you're going to do it, not just go through the motions and kind of like semi-count and invite as one of your circles. Like, actually do it. Give yourself the credit that you deserve for 4 weeks to really give it your all and see what can happen. See what can really happen in your business. Maybe you don't make it to diamond, but maybe you're more consistent than you've ever been and you're having more conversations than you've ever had. Maybe you earn Success Club. Maybe you didn't hit diamond, but you hit Success Club, you know, more consistently than you ever have before. There's so many really awesome wins that can come out of this group, and we hope that that's something that happens for you.
I have a question. So I have lots of people that I've added, but I haven't made a ton of connections to where I feel like if I invited them right now, it'd be like, I don't know, icky feeling. So what do I do about that? Because I feel like I've invited all my warm market already. Do I just suck it up and do lots of cold inviting?
I will say I used to define cold inviting very differently than I do now. If it's somebody who is following you again, or like watching your stories or liking your stuff, it's not a cold invite. I would say that's like a lukewarm invite. Like, they're seeing your stuff, they're seeing what you're doing, they chose to follow you. So when you invite them, it's not like totally out of the blue. To me, a cold invite is like someone who you just like found them on the explore page and they're not following you, they have no idea who you are, then that would be a cold invite. But if they're following along and they're like still following along even after they see you sharing and posting, or they're watching your stories over and over again, then just go invite them. Just be like, hey, zero pressure, I don't know if you saw, I've got such and such coming up, do you have any interest in joining in? Just like very casual, no big deal. Like, you can even say there, like, no pressure, feel free to say no, but reach out to them. Or if it's people who you've been having a conversation with, let them know why you'd want them to join. Like, hey, no pressure, I just feel like we've really clicked. Do you have any interest in maybe joining one of my groups? Like, one of the things I've done before is like, I'll say, I'm letting 5 people into a new coach mentorship, and people that I'm having conversations with, I'll reach out to them and say, hey, I wanted to make sure that I asked you before these spots fill up, would you have any interest in joining my new coach mentorship? No pressure, but I just wanted to ask you, since we've been having such a good conversation, or like since we've connected or whatever, because that can kind of help too. Does that help? But you just kind of have to like.
Yeah, I've done that with those people. These are just like the super, like I added you 4 days ago, because I'm like constantly inviting from the people that watch me or that I've communicated with. So I'm just at this point where I think I'm just going to have to up my ads and stuff like that. So.
Are those people following you back?
Some of them are, and I usually hit them with a thanks for following me message immediately. So I guess it's just a up my numbers thing.
Less than a minute. Any last takers?
Oh, I have a girl that is ready, but she's signing up with her mother-in-law, and her mother-in-law isn't financially ready until mid-May. Mid-May, you still have time. You have till, I mean, our goal date is June 6th, so I would just like check back in with her like a little bit before, like maybe next Friday. Just check back in and be like, hey, I know you said middle of May would be your best time to get signed up. Do you want me to go ahead and send you the sign up steps so you're ready to go? Something like that. And always end it with a question, because then people need to answer. Whether it's a yes or no, they're more likely to give you a response. Okay, you guys have like less than a minute.